I want to talk to you about the Bose S1, which is an amazing speaker for acoustic guitar gigs that I recently got to test drive. The S1 has two separate channels. It's got one for guitar and one for microphone, and there's a third channel you can use for a looper or for backing tracks that you can access by Bluetooth or through a 1/8 inch input. And the S1 is actually portable and rechargeable for up to 11 hours. So the guitar and mic channels, they have separate independent tone, volume, and reverb controls. And they also have something called a proprietary tone match switch, which EQs, optimizes, and restores the natural sound of your acoustic guitar, which, as you know, is typically your biggest problem when you're playing acoustic amps. I tested the S1 speaker, and it's very responsive to pickups, and the tone, volume, and reverb controls genuinely work great. You can position the S1 four different ways. You can tilt it back to broadcast out to an audience, or you can put it horizontally, vertically, or on a stand. The S1 also has a proprietary Bose accelerometer, which automatically adjusts the EQ and optimizes the sound based on whichever one of these four positions you're using. So effectively, you have an acoustic guitar amp, a PA, and a killer Bluetooth speaker all in one. So the bottom line is, if you're an acoustic player, there's absolutely nothing out there that sounds this good and this big, that's portable and battery powered. And the S1 also happens to be the best Bluetooth speaker Bose makes, which says a lot. I used it myself for a party we had here one night, and it was absolutely amazing. All my kids were freaking out. It's like having a full stereo system out on your patio. You can easily use this for DJing, tailgating, or whatever you want. Before this, you'd have to spend thousands of dollars on a bunch of equipment to get the same thing the S1 does. On top of that, it's sleek and it looks great, just like all Bose devices do. And besides whatever money-back guarantee you get from wherever you buy the S1, Bose also warranties the S1 for 2 years from any kind of defects in materials or performance. For more information and to find out where to get your own S1, I'd like you to go to pro.bose.com/podcast. Check it out at pro.bose.com/podcast and get the S1. It's outstanding. This is an important announcement for anyone who wants to advertise here on Everyone Loves Guitar. Over the last 9 months alone, we've had 425,000 more downloads, added over 25,000 monthly listens, and grown our YouTube subscriber base by 72 times. During this time, we've kept our advertising rates consistent, but we will be increasing rates on January 1st. So if you're a business looking to generate new leads or increase your cash flow by picking up new clients or customers, or if you're a label looking to promote new music, then listen up. For information on advertising on Everyone Loves Guitar, fill in the short form at everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. Again, that's everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. Even if you want to advertise next year, you'll get to lock into marketing your product or service at the current rates before rates go up at the end of this year. If you want to buy or sell a home or investment property and you're here in the Tampa Bay area, in Hillsborough, Pinellas, or Pasco counties, then listen up. West Florida Real Estate is a local residential real estate broker that's helped over 250 Bay Area homeowners buy and sell their properties in the last 4 years alone. If you're looking to sell, you'll want to get their free report, The 7 Biggest Mistakes Homeowners Make When Hiring a Realtor. And if you're looking to buy a property, you definitely want to get your hands on the 21 Most Expensive Mistakes Tampa Home Buyers Make When Buying a Home. Each one of these reports is going to save you time and money. Inside, you'll discover the 7 most important things to consider when hiring a realtor, what to do if you're buying and selling a home at the same time, and the danger of choosing a realtor who agrees with everything you say. To get your hands on these free reports, head on over to westfloridarealestate.com. That's westfloridarealestate.com. Hey, this is Craig. If you like this show and you want to support it and you want to keep it free, head on over to everyonelovesguitar.com/support. That's everyonelovesguitar.com/support. Hey, everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar, and welcome to our 600th episode of original content. I want to thank everybody so much for listening. I really appreciate it, and thanks for making this happen. Got a great guitar player, incredibly experienced, and a really sweet guy with Tom Britt out of Nashville today. Tom's a touring and session player. He's had some great experience. If his name sounds familiar, it's because I had his brother Bob on the show probably about a year and a half ago, also out of Nashville. A couple of quick announcements. Number one, I want to thank Jim Oblon for connecting us. Jim's a great friend of mine. I had him on the show a long time ago, and he's had a profound influence on me. Also, everybody go to everyonelovesguitar.com/subscribe. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, and you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel from there as well, and make sure you watch these. And also, lastly, Carlos Santana, Joe Walsh. If you can connect me with either of those guys, I'm really interested in having them on the show. All righty, Tom Britt moved to Nashville at age 19 in 1974 from Iowa. At that time, he moved there as a pedal steel guitar and a guitar player. Pretty much started touring right out of the gate. His first gig was touring with Randy Gurley, and that was Randy was the opening act for the Oak Ridge Boys. He was also doing session work with the original A-Team session players. Tom, who would some of those guys be? Like Reggie Young?
No, not Reggie. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been there. It was Henry Strzelecki, Pig Robbins on piano, Jerry Kerrigan on drums, and our old Musicians Union president, Harold Bradley.
There you go.
Harold Bradley.
Pig Robbins was blind, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I remember somebody told me a story about him with Reggie. He was driving a car or something like that.
Well, I heard that it was with Chet Atkins.
Okay, this is a fishtail, I think.
Back down, right? That's it.
Yeah. After Randy Gurley, Tom worked with Leon Russell for 4 years, traveling around in his mobile home, and Leon sent him on what Tom refers to as the righteous musical path. Your brother was on that gig for a while, wasn't he?
He sure was. I was there first. I was there when Newgrass Revival was his backup band.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and because I grew up with those guys. And he then when they quit, Leon wanted to go back to the old format of a big electric band. And he knew about my brother. I'd told him about him. Sam Bush had told him about him. So we got him in the band.
That's really cool. He had fond memories of that.
He stayed. I was only there for 4 years total. I think Bob stayed with Leon for 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, it was.
We became very, very close.
He spoke so fondly of him on our interview. Yeah. He was like you could tell he was kind of a mentor and
yeah, he was a mentor for me too. I mean, he really raked me over the coals one night in the back of the bus. We were sitting back there playing guitars, and he started saying, "You know what you're doing wrong." And I thought, "Oh God, what?" And he spent about 2 hours explaining to me what I was doing wrong, and he was right.
Really? What was like the Cliff Notes version of that?
Well, melody. I was not really focused on melody. I was more focused on chop, trying to do a lot of hot licks.
Right.
And so then he sat me down and he played guitar, and he would hit 2 notes at a time. This is what his music teachers did with him when he was a kid. And you had to figure out, was it a 5 on top and a 3 on the bottom, or a 1 and a 5, so on and so on and so on. And I failed miserably. But I started practicing that, and that really helped me a lot in melody. Now I've got these little combinations I can go to, which are piano combinations. And, he just really, he wasn't really all that nice about it when he was teaching me. He was kind of serious. He was like a really serious teacher at that point, and at least with me. And I kind of went out of that room after a couple of hours, kind of shaking. Like, God, man, I better get my ass in gear.
Right.
But he was right. He was right.
That's so cool. And you were a kid though, too.
Yeah, I was 25.
Yeah. And you get this pretty from what I remember from Bob, he at one time had the most successful rock tour going for quite a while.
Yeah, he was the number 1 draw 1 year. I think it might have been 72 or something like that.
Yeah. So that's pretty intimidating for a 25-year-old kid, man.
Well, it was just musically intimidating for me because I couldn't believe I was playing with a guy.
Yeah.
And I'd stand on stage and I'd go, God, man, how am I going to keep up with this guy? So I was like being drug around by a rented mule.
That's cool, man. Thank you for telling me that. That was a good story.
Yeah.
And next was Dottie West and the
Yeah.
Dottie West and Kenny Rogers tour. And he was playing,
Yeah.
Tom was playing pedal steel and electric. He did that for 4 years.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you some questions about that. But then you had a change of heart. You quit playing pedal steel and you dedicated yourself to guitar. And you changed your style of playing. Then he played around Nashville for a couple of years with a bunch of people. Then he got a call to take Sonny Landreth's place on a tour in Canada. I'm going to ask you questions about that. 1994, you were playing around town in Nashville, making good money. Then you got an offer you couldn't refuse to go out on the road with Patti Loveless. Toured with her for 4 years, wrote a song for her, and you played on some of her records. Then as a result of playing with Patti, you got hired to play by Vince in his road band and on his records, which you did for 18 years. Man, 18 years with Vince Gill is really, like very impressive, man.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, you're like a very great musician doing that.
I can't believe it. I really should have left after about 5 years. You know what I mean? But I couldn't turn the money down. And his bands are always so good, man.
Yeah.
So, I didn't want to go play with. It's hard to play with other people after playing, with Willie Weeks.
Yeah.
Bass, people like that.
Oh, he's got always the best players. I heard a funny story. I think it was Jerry McPherson told me.
Jerry.
He was with Vince for a little while, like on the road.
I think he did one of the Vince and Amy Christmas tours.
Okay, and he was playing Dan Huff's stuff, is what it was. And I remember telling me, he said Vince is the nicest guy, and here's a good example of that. He goes, when he checks into motels or hotels, he never uses his own name. And he said people would often call him, like fans, and he would talk to them. And Jerry said, "Don't you want to change your name?" He goes, "No, He goes, "They're nice people." That's like unheard of, man.
No, he was. That's weird. I just saw him at breakfast 2 days ago. My son and I went out to breakfast, and there was Vince sitting by himself.
That's cool.
And talked with him for a while in the parking lot. No, I mean, we never had any lights or smoke bombs or dancing girls. We never used in-ears. We had to have real monitors for real men, real guitar amps for real men.
I like that.
And he just hung out with the audience a lot of times. It was no big deal. Everybody else makes such a big deal out of the stardom thing. But he never did.
Man, I can see why, because the people are nuts. I was at a show the other day. I had tickets to a high-profile show. Somebody I had interviewed, very kind enough to give my wife and I tickets, and we were backstage at VIP. And in general, I'm just not a guy that's like starstruck, because I think everybody's the same,
Yeah.
Everybody's got the same. No matter how much money you have, you got to make a living. You got to worry about your kids. You got to take care of your health. You got too much shit to do. Not right.
You got to drive to the grocery store.
Right. We're all the same. So but at this VIP, anybody that had a badge on that said, working, people flocked over to you, and they were asking anybody just to get a selfie with them. And it was kind of like a turnoff, to be honest with you. This whole, it could have been the guy that cleaned the latrine, and they would have been, oh man, I need to get it was just weird. And I think
Vince has had, I've been with Vince when he's had some weird moments. Like I remember we were eating in a restaurant at a casino in Canada, and this girl comes over and wants a picture, and then she starts to sit on his lap.
Yeah, that's weird.
He just gets up and goes, "No, you got to leave."
Yeah.
So he's smart enough to know.
Yeah.
Don't fall into the Me Too trap there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird, man.
But he's very respectful, and I have always been very respectful of people too. Hey, are you getting that delay again at all?
No, it sounds great.
Okay, good.
Sounds great. Moving on, played with Vince for 18 years. During that time, you got to play with Eric Clapton, Willie Nelson, Sheryl Crow, Sting, Dolly Parton, John Oates, Amy Grant, and loads of other people.
Yeah.
In 2014, and now this is what is really, different or crazy. Tom got diagnosed with 2 different types of cancer, and he came off the road, and he's doing several different projects in town now, trying to stay healthy.
And still smoking cigarettes.
He's cut down. He's cut down from 2 packs a day to 1 pack.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm trying to support you there, but
thank you.
Was Bob diagnosed with cancer the same time you were, or was he
2 months after I was?
And he's a little younger than you?
He is. He's 5 years younger than I am.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
that's so crazy, man.
That's weird because it doesn't run in our family, you know. So we couldn't figure it out.
It's just is there like and it doesn't matter. You can talk about why from here to forever, which is, you know, now at this point is not important. But was it environmental? Was there something that you both?
You know, I don't know. I mean, Bob, you know, he had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and Bob gardened a lot. So I don't know if the Monsanto thing comes into play with his. You just don't know. And mine was actually my stage 4 penile cancer that I had was actually brought on by having the HPV virus. That's how mine started. It manifested itself into a skin cancer, and then it spread to my lymph system in my groin. And then as a result of the treatment from all that, I had a lump in my neck, and that turned out to be Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is very curable. But I think that was a residual cancer too, because of the massive treatment I went through.
Holy crap.
That's just my opinion.
How are you doing now?
I'm doing really good.
That's
really
great.
good. I mean, it's left me with neuropathy in my feet. I don't walk really well. The whole experience was actually a good thing for my playing.
In what way?
Well, I knew I was going to be down and out for a while, sitting around the house and not feeling so good. But then they jacked me up with steroids, really massive doses of steroids when I was going through the chemo. And I finally had to have them back off on it. But what the steroids did to me, you watch baseball?
No, not like seriously.
Okay. Well, I think I was like tanked up like Ramirez was, you know, and or Canseco or Barry Bonds. It was heavy duty steroids, so I couldn't really walk very well. So I just stayed on the couch, and my brain was all jacked up. So I used it to just subtly practice theory and melodies and things like that. And I did it for 3 years, and it really, I came out the other end a much better player. Wow.
Did you, first of all, thanks for talking about this. I'm trying to think of the
well, it's different for everybody, I guess.
Yeah. How did you, having that much time alone, how did you avoid, you know, the little voice on your shoulder? I mean, being alone, isolated for 3 years, not saying alone, but, you know, having all that free time, it's smart that you play guitar, but how did you ward off, you know, the little voices in your head that we all have that always come out at the worst times when we don't need them?
I don't think I had them. You mean what kind of voices?
Well, just, you know, poor me, what's going to happen, you know, worry, that kind of shit. All the shit that we do to ourselves that's fucking useless.
Yeah, I mean, I worry now more than I used to because of this, but you know, they only get me in the morning, and then as the day goes on, they kind of dissipate. So,
you know, my wife had cancer in '98, and thank God she was fine. In the bad deck of cards, we pulled the best cards that we could have.
What did she have?
She had breast cancer in '98, and it took me. I would wake up every morning, 5 years it took until I didn't think about it. And I think with her, it took a little longer than that, you know, and even probably, what's that?
Mental portion.
Yeah.
The mental aspect of it.
Yeah. And even until maybe 5, and this is '98, so it's almost 30 years ago. It is 08. No, it's 20 years ago.
20 years. Yeah.
Even let's say 5 years ago, if she'd get sick, wouldn't be instant, but it would, you know, I hope it's not anything serious, you know. I think that's a normal thing. And like, you're fresh out of it in a sense. I think that's a really, judging from seeing Anne, what she went through.
Yeah.
Probably pretty.
There's that initial paranoid thing where every morning I wake up, I still do it because I'm just 3 years clean.
Yeah.
And I feel my body get in the shower, get in the bath or whatever. And I start looking for lumps. So far, so good.
No, thank God, man. I'm real happy. And Tom, and we're going to talk about it, but Tom put out a great record called Elevator Man, and we'll talk about that too. Really good. I would love everybody to listen and order it. What made you move to Nashville in the first place? And then,
well, it was a no-brainer.
Iowa wasn't the place for you?
Well, no, and I had also lived briefly in southern Indiana, in Evansville, Indiana, and tried to play in bands around there. And I just thought, man, I was just always very serious about it, very OCD and serious about it. And these people
about your music,
my what I was going to do with my life, and if I'm going to do this, well, then I'm going to be as good as I possibly can.
Did you have were your parents musical?
Yeah, my mom, she played the harp and piano, and my dad played rock radio really loud. Okay,
so you grew up with music, and I'm assuming they were supportive.
And my mom, I listened to all my moms, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, Sinatra, just everybody, man, all the time. Loved him.
Did you know anybody in town when you moved to Nashville?
Yes, I did. I knew all of Newgrass Revival. They were in town recording a record, and they had a guy that was they were putting the word out that I was in town. I was just 19. And within one day, one of the guys that was on the session wasn't called me, and that's how I got the gig. I went and auditioned for it and got it.
Oh, that was quick. So it was like no time at all.
Yeah, it was like one day.
Man, that had to be like
that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. No, but that had to make you feel like, oh man, I'm in the right, organically, I'm
well,
here
where I knew I was in the right place. And another thing about coming here, I wanted to hear all these great players live. I didn't want to hear them on records. I already liked what they played on records. I loved everything Reggie did on records. Yeah. And so finally I said, man, I got to go hear Reggie Young play, and found out that he was playing at, I can't remember. And it was life-changing.
Yeah. I had him on the show before he passed, man.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, one of the nicest human beings you ever.
Oh, it's great, man.
I mean, just a warm, just a kind person, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Okay, so I had Pat. I'm having a brain fart. From Newgrass Revival.
Pat Flynn.
Yeah, Pat Flynn. I had him on the show a while
back. When I was there, Pat was not the guitar player. Curtis Birch was. It was the original Newgrass Revival. It was Curtis Birch, Courtney Johnson, Sam Bush, and John Cowan.
And those guys, were they from Iowa originally? Is that how you knew
them? No. They're from Barron County, Kentucky.
How'd you know them?
Bowling Green. Well, John Cowan, when I lived in Evansville, John and I played in bands. Okay. And John ended up getting a gig with Newgrass. And I drove him down there. And then I ended up becoming friends with him. And they would ask me to sit in with them. And we've just been, I mean, I was, God, how old was I, man? I was probably 22 at the time. And then Leon wanted them to be his band. And then there was some kind of disagreement on guitar solos with Curtis at the time. And so Leon said, well, who can I get to take guitar solos? And so that's how I got it.
Okay, I got you. Mm-hmm. And then, you talked about, you played pedal steel early on. So my question was, what did you like most about pedal steel? And then what later made you drop it and focus solely on guitar? And how did your playing style change at that point?
Well, I just always liked the way it sounded, because I always wanted an electric guitar to kind of have that sound. B.B. King said the same thing. He always wanted his guitar to sound like a steel guitar. So that's what attracted me to it. And that, and also the fact that there was a band that said they were looking for a pedal steel player when I was in Louisville, Kentucky. And I said, well, when do you need one by? And they said, well, maybe next week. So I went out and bought one and played for a week and got the gig.
Wow. I hear that a lot, man.
Yeah. You know who else did that? It was Roger Miller. You remember Roger Miller?
Yeah, ages ago.
Yeah, he said, they said, we need a bass player Monday. And he goes, when? Monday. And he says, okay, I'll do it. And he'd never played bass, and he went and bought a bass and learned it by Monday.
I've heard that with guys with banjo and all kinds of instruments, you know. So let me ask you a question about that. What you mentioned that you were really OCD serious about what you do. Are you like that in general with anything you do? Like you're
no, I'm not. No. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been. I wouldn't be with Robin for 10 years. She would have left me.
So what about the guitar? What did that do for you emotionally that got you so serious about it?
Well, I always felt guitar was pedal steel is a pigeonhole instrument, unfortunately.
Yes.
And I was getting pigeonholed, and I was afraid I was going to spend the rest of my life not really doing what I really wanted, which was to pursue just guitar and different styles of guitar. You know, I listened to I listened to Rycooter a lot. I always wanted to play like Rycooter. And so, you know, and actually Patti Loveless, when I worked with her, I was kind of in a Rycooter phase, and she just let me do it, you know.
So when you say you changed your playing style on guitar, how did it change?
I've gotten a lot more subtle, a lot more melodic, a lot more simple, because before I had to, you know, if I'm having to do a country gig, there's always going to be a lot of chicken picking involved. You know what I mean? Especially in the 90s.
Yeah, old school country.
Yeah. You know, you had Brett Mason doing all this hot chicken picking stuff. And I was really getting tired of doing that because it just seemed like everybody was in it. I just wanted to go somewhere else with it. So now, you know, and so I've kind of incorporated a few things, you know, some African style, some Rycooter, and things like that in my playing now. And I have a band called the Taj Mahalics where I get to do it for 2 hours. And that's what I want to do. And I'm retired now. Oh, shit. Somebody's calling me. And except, no. Decline. Okay, there we go.
Also, you're like, for example, Elevator Man, it was a lot of bluesy stuff on there.
Sure.
And it sounded like you were that sounded like you were where you wanted to be.
Yeah, I think that album, it's songs I wrote and it's me singing. Now, everybody expected me to do an instrumental record. But I always write songs and try to get real cool grooves going behind the lyrics and things like that. Now, there's a couple of instrumentals on that record, 2 or 3. Yeah, less is more. I just got burned on the hot lick thing coming on in Nashville.
That's cool, man.
I had to tone it down somewhere.
All right. I want to ask you about some of the gigs you had, and if you could talk about how you got the call and maybe an interesting or funny or cool story about your experience working with them. You got called to take Sonny Landreth's place. Were you playing a lot of slide at that time, or?
Yeah, at that time, you know, I had always done it ever since I was a kid, playing behind the bar. And you know, I got mixed response out of it here in Nashville, but I was still doing it, and people seemed to like it. And somebody, it was Sam Bush. He said, man, he calls me up and he goes, man, there's this guy that plays just like you. And I said, oh, no, man. I don't need to hear that. And it was Sonny.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So,
you don't mind hearing that.
It's back to the drawing board for me.
Yeah.
So I can still do all that Sonny Landreth stuff, but I don't. You know? I do it sparingly.
How did you get that call? Who connected you guys?
A guy named Mike Wanchek from John Mellencamp's band.
Interesting.
He produced this girl, Sue Medley.
Mm-hmm.
He produced a record on her, and she was on Polygram Records up in Canada. And she had a sort of a hit in Canada. And she had a 60-day tour booked. And Sonny played on her record.
Okay.
So
and he
Mike had heard me play and thought, well, no, this is what you got to do to get this guy to take Sonny's place. So, but there was a bit of a dispute on the gig. They wanted me to actually totally do Sonny, and I didn't want to totally do Sonny. I had to still kind of maintain a certain amount of personal style to it. It didn't fly so well.
Yeah. So let me ask you about that. So you're obviously kind of a maverick, which is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that's what some people have said. I'm a wild card.
Yeah, but I like that, man, because I don't like the guy that's going to say yes to everything. I understand it in the session business. I understand it. And I don't have anything against, there's no judgment. But I like, as a chemistry, what I'm attracted to is the guy that does what is it?
And it's been good for me. I mean, that's why Patti hired me, and that's why Vince hired me.
Because you wanted to. Yeah. You know what's the expression? I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yeah.
That's what I like, man. That's what I like. So talk about Patti. How'd you get called for Patti? And how could
I just heard that it was available. Her pedal steel player, Pete Finney, at the time called me and said, "Man, would you want to play with Patti?" And I said, "Hell yeah, man." And when do we start? And he goes, well, it's blah, 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 blah. And then he calls back and goes, well, they want to do an audition and check a couple other people out. And I'm like, man, I don't want to audition for anything. You know, if they want me to play, I'll play the gig. But I did do the audition because I liked her records so much and her song choices. I always thought her and her husband, Emery Gordon, chose great songs, man. So I auditioned and got it. But and it was great.
How long did you do that gig for?
Well, I did it for 4 years, and then I went with Vince, and then I would still kind of do like the Grand Ole Opry with Patti every now and then, and stuff like that. But I haven't worked with her in quite a while. But I talk to her every now and then.
How did you get hooked up with Vince?
Well, Vince I knew from when I lived in Louisville, Kentucky, briefly.
Okay, because he's from there, isn't he?
No, he's from Tulsa, Oklahoma, but he moved from Tulsa when he was 18 to Louisville, Kentucky to play bluegrass music in the Bluegrass Alliance was the name of them. And I was playing, remember I told you the pedal steel story where they needed somebody by Monday.
Yeah.
Well, I was playing in that band, but they did a lot of bluegrass music, and he would come sit in with us. At that time, he just played mandolin and sang. And
that's almost hard to imagine that he only played mandolin and sang. That's weird.
Yeah. Well, I think he had an electric guitar, but that wasn't. He was just doing the bluegrass thing at this time. So that's how I became friends with him. Then I ran into him here in Nashville, and then when he was really a big star in the '90s, and I was with Patti, we did a whole tour opening up for him, and he just loved my playing. And as soon as he found out that Patti was taking a year off, he called me and
wow,
play guitar. So.
Holy smokes, that's really awesome.
Yeah. Although I never felt like I really added that much to his.
It's hard to feel like you're adding something to Vince Gill.
Yeah, I know.
But in a situation,
it was fun to stand on stage and listen to them, man.
But a situation like
that,
that
guy can sing. God,
you got to defer to him, though. You got to defer to him, because if he didn't think you're adding much, he wasn't up. He's not paying you for charity, man. No. He's going to have the guy he wants up there. So whatever you were adding was exactly what he wanted to add.
Yeah. Right.
So, but how do you feel you're adding something? When you're playing with Vince, it's kind of hard.
How do you what?
How does anybody feel like they're adding something when they're playing with Vince Gill?
I know. That's what I felt like. I said, oh man, this guy's so good. What am I doing here?
Yeah. Well, that was a great gig, man.
So I just tried to stay out of the way as much as possible.
Any funny stories from that
about
gig?
Vince?
Yeah, not about Vince, but about your experience there. It could be a Vince story, whatever you want.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to say there's a bunch.
That's good.
This is okay. So we were playing an outdoor gig. He tells this story too from the stage about me. We were doing a gig in San Diego at a place called Humphreys by the Bay. And it's an outdoor venue. And we start when it gets dark. So you can't see the audience. The lights are in your eyes. And this guy, somebody in the audience starts singing along with Vince's songs. And he gets perturbed. It just keeps getting worse. So finally, he yells at the guy and says, buddy, if you want to sing my songs, why don't you come up here? Vince has some stage anger issues sometimes,
right?
You know? And so all of a sudden, out of the darkness, this guy in a wheelchair who looks like Stephen Hawking.
Oh my God!
Comes wheeling up, and that's the guy that's doing it. And Vince just went blank. He turned white, man. And so we did one song and left the stage. he did one song. He said, "Good night, everybody."
Oh, wow.
So we go back to the bus, and he's just sitting there on the bus, just feeling terrible. So a couple weeks later, we were doing another outdoor gig in New York, Chautauqua, New York. And I was out on the stage tuning, and all the lights in the audience were up, and I saw they brought a busload of mentally challenged people in and sat them right down front left in front of the stage. So then the lights go out, the show starts, you can't see them anymore, but they start kind of, being mentally challenged.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I see Vince is starting to get really, really, and I had to finally put a stop to it. And I called him over.
He didn't realize that there were special needs people.
He didn't know. I knew he didn't know that.
Yeah, right. Of
course. I called him over and I yelled in his ear and I said, excuse me for saying this, but I said, "They're retarded."
Right.
And then he looked at me and he said, "What?" And I said, "They're retarded." And then he stands there for a little bit and he looks back at me and he goes, "Thank you."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I have not heard anything like that. That's interesting, man.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. This is a thing they don't teach you in music school.
Yeah. And then one time I got kind of accosted by this guy on the street in Seattle, and Vince came running off this. Vince has sleep apnea, so he had one of these oxygen tanks, and he comes running out of the bus with this oxygen tank over his head, like he's going to beat this guy up with his oxygen tank.
What was the guy hassling you about? Was he just a drunk dude or something?
No, everybody was. I know we both know when we were in Seattle. We had a day off, and everybody honks as soon as a light turns green. Everybody just starts honking for no reason.
They still do that?
Yeah, man. And I just finally I got sick of it. And one guy honked at me by the bus one day when I was putting my bag on the bus, and I went off on him in the street. And he gets out of his car. He's huge. He looks like a pro football player. And I'm like, oh, God, man, what have I done? And then right about that time, Vince comes running off the bus. He sees what's going on, and he's holding his oxygen tank in his hand. And then the guy looks at Vince, and he's like, "Are you Vince Gill?" So it's like,
this is a comedy, man.
I know, man. I know. Those are the road stories I like to remember.
Are you Vince Gill?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! Like that's a pattern.
Yeah, I am, and I'm getting ready to kick your ass.
Yeah, how funny is that? Oh my God! What was the circumstances where you played with Clapton and Sting?
The Clapton thing, I did all the Crossroads blues festivals, and he would come out and play with us.
Oh.
Him and Sheryl Crow, I think we did Tulsa Time, and I'm not sure what other songs. Oh, we did Lay Down Sally with Clapton. And we were kind of the Nashville band for the Crossroads.
Yeah.
Things. We backed up a lot of people, Willie Nelson and Sheryl Crow and Keb Mo.
All of them who have recorded in Nashville.
Yeah, Keb lives here.
Keb does, yeah.
All these people live here. So that's how I played with Clapton. Now the Sting thing, they had this country music show called Crossroads where they paired up rock acts, country acts. So they asked Sting, and he said, "I'll do it, but only if Vince Gill does it with me." So that's cool. And then Sting heard Vince's band, said, "Yeah, we can make this work." So we did the whole show in New York City at some big place. I don't know, and it was great, man. Vince was really scared. We were all kind of scared, like, it's Sting, and these songs are really complicated, but they're actually not complicated because that I got all the charts for the gig. And I never read one of the charts because from hearing him so much, I knew where the song was going. Everybody did. Everybody threw their charts away, and we just played and had a great time, and we were done in one take.
Oh, that's cool, man.
So, and he was great. He was really nice. And,
What would be the top 3 musical experiences you've had?
Well, that would have been one of them. Right
With Sting. With Sting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Let me think what else. Well, just playing with Leon and learning from Leon.
Yeah.
And Vince.
Yeah.
You know, working with Vince.
What a, you know, like when you look back and you just playing with Sting and Vince, Leon Russell, and then playing with Vince 18 years, that's a freaking amazing career. Yeah,
I wish I could keep going.
Yeah, you can, if you want to. Let's talk about your record. You got you put out a really cool 9-song album called Elevator Man. Very haunting record at times, you know. And what I like about it is
I can be dark.
I like that. I'm attracted to that musically, you know. But it's very simple, which is I liked as well. You know,
I like simple.
Yeah, and it's when you convey emotions simply. For me, I always find
it's the hardest thing to do.
It's hard as hell, man, but it hits you
really hard.
It hits you.
Songwriting is really hard. Good songwriting is impossible.
That's the first thing I said to you. I said, man, to write all them songs, those 3 to 4 minute songs like that,
and it's hard.
Yeah, and you got some winners.
Really hard.
I had a question. Did you put this out while you were pretty much recovering? Did having cancer?
No, I put this out while I was in the middle of chemo.
Okay, well, that's in the middle of recovering, man. No.
Well, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I'm not signing up for chemo anytime soon. You know, it's like right in the middle of recovering from cancer, man. That's like huge. Yeah. But I had
all these. You know, I bought Nuendo in like 2002, and I literally recorded everything I did for 15 years. Even my practicing, I recorded and I analyzed it. And I thought, what are you doing wrong here? I wrote songs and I said, what's wrong with this song? You know, so on and so on. So this is just kind of a culmination of material that I have collected over the years. And I just took it, mixed it, and put it out.
Did having cancer in a way motivate you to put that out? Because
the steroids did.
Okay, so
no, I'm serious. I think you know, if they hadn't given me steroids, you know, I wouldn't have gotten that record out.
Yeah. Oh, I totally get that. I totally get. Let's talk about a few of the tracks. Start with the title track, Elevator Man. Haunting vocals. Haunting vocals. It's a great track. Who is Elevator Man?
Who is Elevator Man?
You know, what is Elevator Man? It's probably
Elevator Man is when I was a kid in Sioux City, Iowa. We had a hotel downtown that had one of those old brass elevators, and it was like 5 stories high or something. And they had you had to have an elevator operator back then. They weren't automated; they were manual. So as kids, we get out of school and we were, you know, just looking for nothing, and we go down there and we'd get on the elevator and piss a guy off. Right up and down. He had like a red crushed velvet outfit on and everything. It was just an old memory. So I just started. It just came to me one day.
Is on your voice? It sounded like there's like, is it reverb or delay? Or slight. What was that?
Very slight delay.
Yeah, it was perfect
on some of it, not all of it.
Yeah, but on the chorus.
Oh, of Elevator. Well, no, that's actually a harmony on there.
It sounded like it was. Where was the delay?
Probably in the mix somewhere. I don't know. Man, I don't know.
It sounded great.
Remember. Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
thanks.
Man, the vocals sounded really good on there. It's always funny for me when I meet somebody not in the context of seeing them perform, and then I hear like this. Often, this is most of the time, and someone says, "Hey, man, listen to my record," and I do, and it's really weird because for most part, people's singing voice does not sound anything like their speaking voice.
Right.
So it's like the words, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's the same dude. And the words and music don't ever sort of match. And that's what happened. Your voice is great. Not that your speaking voice is bad, but it's just different, you know?
Yeah.
Manny.
I've just never been comfortable singing.
Oh, you should be. It's great. It was really good. Really good, man.
You know, part of the reason with that is I've worked with all these great singers throughout my career. And I think, God, man.
Well, but you work with great guitar players too. You work with great guitar players.
Yeah, but I don't consider myself a great singer.
Well, you did great. They fit your songs.
Thanks.
Your voice was great, man.
Thanks.
When Manny gets home, who's Manny?
You know, I smoke marijuana.
Oh, okay.
So Manny was my guy.
Oh, that's so
a
funny.
Vietnam vet.
Your dealer.
You know? Yeah, man. He was my guy. And all of a sudden I call him up one day and he's gone to Mexico.
That's so funny.
And he didn't give me a heads up. So that's what the song's about.
That's so funny. When Manny gets home. That's so funny, man. That is hilarious, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Although Manny, that's not his real name, just so you know.
It's okay, man. The feds aren't going to be listening to this show, scouring Nashville for Manny.
Yeah, he lives at 3122.
I'm not worried about that. Further On, that was by far my favorite track, man.
Oh, thanks. I wrote that with Jonelle Mosser. That's Jonelle Mosser singing.
That is, man,
on there. And we had written that a long time ago, and I was just going through some old stuff, and I said, man, this fits this record.
I nearly cried when I heard that. That was so powerful, man. And
it's one of those death songs, you know.
It was, and it was in like B major or something.
No,
like
it's in D.
Oh, okay.
I think so. I think.
Yes, it was. It was in D. You're right.
Yeah.
But so you had mandolin double tracking on the guitar. That was you playing mandolin.
Yeah.
The tone on that song was great. Just the
you know what? That wasn't mandolin. That was a trace, a Cuban trace.
Oh, TRES.
Yeah.
That sounded so
Which is
cool,
a little
man.
deeper sounding.
Really cool. But
yeah,
the notes are very abrupt, like a mandolin. That's what I thought it was a mandolin.
Yeah, they decay very fast and they're very punchy.
Yeah. What guitar were you playing and what distortion were you using on? Because it was just like real creamy.
I didn't use a distortion on that song.
That was just the amp cranked.
Oh, you mean on which song are you talking about?
On Further On.
No, Further On, that's acoustic, isn't it?
Nope.
Further on down the road.
No, not one? Further On. Man, I could play it here. But no, it had great, there was a little bit of distortion or overdrive, something on there. Just it was really like
electric guitar, because Further On is acoustic, isn't it?
No, the one that's acoustic is the one after that, which is Tribute to Taj.
No. Oh, no. You're right. That is electric. That's. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. I'm starting to think, man. I need
to.
My. Where's Manny? Get his ass over here.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Manny. No, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That was a Stratocaster tuned in D. One of my Stratocasters, just tuned in a D chord.
What was the fuzz on there, or
Man, you know, I think I probably ran through. There's no telling what amp I ran through. I think I ran through this little Magnatone amp, tiny Magnatone, 8-watt amp with a 10-inch speaker in it.
The old original Magnatones.
Yeah, and then actually, you know why that has that sound is because I had so much amp noise. I had to use a noise thing. So when you use a noise, you know what I mean? It kind of cuts your notes off short. So that guitar, if the notes were cut off really short, and that was actually not the nature of that guitar. That's happened in the mix now.
Oh, because it was perfect, man.
Yeah, that's why I liked it. I thought, well, hell, I can deal with that.
Yeah, it was it was like old school 1970s British brown sound, man. It was it was hot, man.
Yeah.
What's that song about? Because it was really emotional.
Man, just about how the human race is doing itself, you know?
Yeah.
Basically.
I mean, you could write a volume.
Yeah, I know. You could
write a disc box set on that.
I know. Let's just leave it be at that.
Yeah, man. A great song. I'm so happy I listened to that. And I'm so happy you made it. Really, really cool. And then the acoustic Tribute to Taj. Really nice. Nice you don't often hear bluesy melodic finger picking like that. It's usually bluegrass
I
style.
love Taj's playing, man.
Oh, and that was for Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
Was that? Yeah. Great track. Great track, man. And everybody, so it's the record is called Elevator Man by Tom Britt, and it's available on his website at Tom Britt Guitar. Was it? Yeah, TomBrittGuitar.com. Please check it out. It's a great, great record. Asking a guy who's had cancers, any other low points, but any other low points or dark periods you've had to go through, deal with in life? No.
No.
I
have 2 kids. Everything's been high points.
That's cool, man.
I have 2 sons.
Are they both in town?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great, man.
That's cool.
That's great. Yeah, both my sons are close by. I like that,
Yeah.
It's a good feeling, especially when they're adults. Don't you find like
they're actually starting to like me now.
Yeah. How old are they?
I know. Isn't that cool?
How old are they?
They are 22 and 24.
Yeah, that's when it starts happening, man, because you don't get a lot of attaboys from them when you're doing all the work.
I know, man.
In the mid-20s, it's really nice, yeah.
Yeah, they're changing in a good way, man.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Hey, Tom, if you could go back and give yourself advice, and assuming you would have listened, what advice would you have given, if any, that would have made your life easier, either business, personal, whatever?
Oh, I wouldn't have gotten married so many times.
Yeah. How many times have you been married?
3.
Oh, third time's a charm.
No, it wasn't.
I hear you.
No, I'm not married right now. Robin and I have just been together for 10 years. She won't marry me. She didn't want to be number 4.
Yeah, man. I got to tell you,
man. I wouldn't either.
Past performance is indicative of future expectations, man. It's like an investment.
That's why I knew I had a really smart woman on my hands. That she wouldn't marry me.
No, but you know what, man? I've been with Ann 27 years, and I plan on being with her till I die. But
great.
Nobody gets married now, man.
Yeah, no.
Nobody gets married. It's like old people get married. My son is talking about getting married. I'm like, what the hell? I was shocked.
Yeah, my son was too. I said, no, man, wait a minute.
Yeah, I was shocked. Let's talk about gear for a few minutes.
Yeah.
So what's your go-to guitar, the one you like playing the most?
I have 3.
Okay, tell me them.
I have, you want me to show them to you?
Yeah, if you want, man, that'd be cool. That's great. Awesome.
Here is, how do we do this?
Oh, I don't know. You need a studio production guy in there to work this one out now.
All right, there's one.
Okay, so it's upside down, but it's a blue. Is it a Fender? There you go. Wow, man.
Sure.
That's like beautiful. Is that a Fender Strat?
Well, it's a.
What is that? I've never seen that. What is that? Okay, so it's a Strat, but there's something over.
Steel pickup on the back of it.
What is it?
It's a lap steel pickup out of a 1963 Supro.
Holy crap! I've never seen anything like that.
Well, it's a Rycutter guitar.
What year is that Strat?
Oh, it's just like a 95 or something Mexican Strat.
It's beautiful color, man. What is it, like eggshell blue, or what do they call it?
That is, I paint my guitars with, I use auto body paint. I just go to the auto body store.
Do you seriously?
No, seriously. Or I go to the auto parts store and get touch-up paint. I use that stuff.
That's really, and you paint them all, you strip them down and you paint them all yourself?
Yeah.
What color is that? That's a beautiful, it's like,
I don't know, some kind of Lake Placid blue.
Yeah, that's it, Lake Placid blue. It's a beautiful guitar. What's number 2?
Well, number 2, they're in their cases over there. I have a 1981 Fernandes Stratocaster that they gave me when I was working with Leon, and I've had it ever since. And I've got like a Tysco Del Rey pickup in the back of it, and then 2 regular Strat pickups, and it's got a rosewood fingerboard on it. And then my other one is a spare part Telecaster that I made. I've played it for 30 years. It's got 2 1961 Tysco Del Rey pickups in it.
That's cool.
And I put that all together. It has a huge neck on it. I love huge necks. Or I love big necks.
You're a big guy. You got to have a huge
big neck guy, man.
Yeah.
And those are the 3 I use, and they're tuned in G, D, and E.
Talk to me about that Fernandes, because lately I've heard so many guys talking about them. And I got them on my like watch list now on Reverb. Tell me about those guitars. What should I look for and what should I look out for?
Well, man, I don't see them very often, to be honest with you. I really don't. They just made a few, and they got sued by Fender back in the 80s. So they had to quit making them to where they were identical to Fender Stratocaster, which is one of the ones I got. So I don't know. I just don't see them anymore anywhere. I don't know how valuable they are or whatever, but they I had a bunch of old, I had an old 64 Candy Apple Red Stratocaster and a 52 Telly. And I actually ended up liking my Fernandes. I thought my Fernandes sounded better than my 64 Stratocaster.
And you put pickups in the Fernandes.
I put one Tyco in the back, and then I replaced the pickups with Lawlers.
Okay, but you like that? What about that sounds better than the Strat, than the Fender?
You mean pickup wise?
No. I'm sorry. Just the guitar itself. What do you like about the guitar better than the Fernandes Strat?
I spent a lot of time getting it playing right. Okay. I've got the springs adjusted just right. I've got the correct neck on it now. And I've had to like readjust the neck. I had to shim it and get it right. And it's taken me years to get it to that point. And it's a great sounding guitar.
Do you do all your work yourself, or do you bring it to like Joe Glazer or somebody?
Sometimes, but sometimes I use Joe Glazer.
Yeah. Okay.
Like that pickup that you saw on the back of that Stratocaster, Joe Glazer put that on there.
Yeah. Who the hell else?
He had to carve the metal out.
Yeah. The regular person can't put a.
I don't have that kind of tools.
Yeah, man. Who are your favorite other guitar players that you've enjoyed playing with?
Oh, wow. Well, around town here, I'm sorry, I'm looking for my phone charger now. Oh, man, Jack Pearson and Guthrie Trapp I play with.
Yeah, Jack's great.
Mike Henderson, Kenny Greenberg, Tom Bukovac. And some acoustic players. I like Todd Lombardo. He's an acoustic player here in town. And I use him on some stuff. I love his playing. Other guitar players. I don't know.
That's a hell of a selection you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're keepers.
Jack's one of the most humble dudes you ever find.
He sure is, man. Jack's a country boy, man.
Yeah, he's a real. People listening, if you're familiar with Jack Pearson, I had him on the show quite a long time ago. But the reason he's so good is, man, that dude's playing guitar literally all day.
Oh, I know. I practice. I thought I practiced a lot, but man, when I knew Jack, I thought, God damn, man.
He's playing till 4 a.m. every day.
I know.
He's just at it.
And it kind of shows.
Yeah. In a big way.
Yeah.
But he's just such a humble, there's not an ounce of.
He's a workaholic guy, man. Yeah. He's on earth to work.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
No matter what it is, if he was a farmer, he'd work just as hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with you there. Tell me your top 3 Desert Island discs, man.
Oh, I'm going to say almost anything by Ry Cooder, Randy Newman, and Harry Nilsson.
Interesting, man. I've not had those 3 guys.
Yeah.
What about Nilsson attracted you? Lyrics? Or
his talent.
Vocals? Yeah.
His singing, his writing, his musicianship.
Tragic.
His lyrics.
Tragic guy. Did you see the document?
Yeah, he drank himself, to death.
Yeah.
But he had a good time.
Sometimes
everybody who knew him said, man, this guy's having a good time. All of Monty Python hung out with him and the Beatles. And he was just a nice guy, man.
Yeah.
He just liked to drink. So. And he had more talent than, it's like I said, if I want to listen to the Beach Boys or the Beatles, I just go ahead and put a Harry record on.
Yeah, very melodic guy, for sure.
Oh, man. and his lyrics.
Yeah, lyrics
they're really creative. They're really creative.
It's funny you mentioned that. You said he's had a good time. I've had guys on the show, of course, loads of people talk about getting sober. And some of them said, you know what, man, I miss getting fucked up because I had a really good time.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I get it. Hey, tell me best decision you ever made, Tom.
Oh, that would be divorcing my last wife and getting back with my girlfriend, Robin.
Good man.
Yeah. I felt like I finally made a good decision.
Good for you, man. Hey, even a broken clock's right twice a day, Tom.
What's that?
Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
I guess so.
Most important things you've learned about yourself.
Haven't figured myself out yet.
Fair enough. All right, this is a similar question, but it's different. This is a tough question. What do you like most about yourself?
My hair.
You have great hair, man. You do.
Thanks.
But what about you're not?
That's a nice shallow answer, isn't it?
I'm just gonna say.
I can come up with.
No. I was just gonna say. What about non-physical traits?
Oh, I don't know.
No, man. Think about it. You got to have something that you like about yourself.
Oh, I like that I like to talk to people, and I can get people to talk to me.
Yeah, that's good.
I have a lot of kids. I live in a mixed race neighborhood, and I have a lot of kids that I've become friends with, who are kind of don't have parents or don't have fathers.
Yeah.
And I like that about myself, that I've got them all together, and we hang out on my front porch all the time and talk, and I try to, talk some sense into them. That's
nice, man.
It is. It's very rewarding, and later in life, I this just happened by accident. They just started coming up.
Do you ever bring your boys around them?
Yeah, they like them.
That's cool.
But my boys are kind of they left early on. They were motivated like I was, so they left the nest at early ages. Now these kids that I'm dealing with right now, some of the black kids in the neighborhood, they're older and they're still stuck at home, and they don't have a father, and they don't really know what to do.
Yeah, man, that's rough. The problem with that is, because I grew up in the sort of projects in the Bronx, and whether you're white or black, the problem is when you don't have any optimism about what the future holds. That is.
Well, it's economics plays a big part in it too.
Economics, and just like, if you feel like, okay, well, I'm going to get a job making minimum wage, or life sucks, so what's the point? That's when you tend to stray.
Yeah, a lot of these kids feel like, well, life sucks.
Right. Like, what's the point in doing anything? Because
exactly.
they've never seen what the point is of doing something.
Right.
That's the problem.
They've never been taught that there is a point to doing something.
I was like that myself, to be honest with you. I was like, what's the point? And it takes I was lucky, man, maybe by the grace of God, but I somehow, I'm not going to say I figured it out, but I
found your mojo.
Yeah. I invested in myself for some reason, but
I'm trying to get these kids to do that, man. It's really hard.
It's really very hard. Best childhood memory.
I guess getting my first guitar on Christmas. I got an electric. My parents gave me a Greco guitar for my 10th birthday.
That's great, man. Who started playing first, you or
I did?
Pop? Yeah,
I did.
You know what else I thought you were going to say? What you like about you're like. I haven't spoken to you really in depth before this, but you seem like you're the guy. No, here's my answer. Here's who I am. No bullshit. Like if you're good with it, fine. If you're not, that's fine. Like you don't sugarcoat. I like that. I like that. Appeals to me about people.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that's like, I might have said this before. Don't piss on my back and tell me it's raining.
Right.
Just be straight about stuff. Who's had the biggest influence on you, musically and then also personally?
Musically, guitar-wise would be Ry Cooder. Personally, Can't answer that. Maybe my mother.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. She told me I wanted to quit playing and go to college. And she said, nah, you need to keep playing.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I didn't expect that.
Changed your life.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I've said this before. That's the number one thing that successful players have in common. They had support from their parents. Number one, by far. Even if there was dysfunction in the house or problems, they had supportive parents for their career. By far, number one thing. You have any hobbies outside of music?
Yeah. Well, I'm not doing well. I study history.
Cool. Anything specific?
And I painted for a long time. I was a painter and an artist, and but that became too expensive. But I've always been fascinated with American and European history, so I still read a lot about all that.
Any predictions for the future? Is shit going to get better? What does history tell you? Please be optimistic.
I don't know, man. There is nothing to look back on. You know, usually you look back in history and go, "Oh, this happened once before."
Yeah.
And here's what they did. Here's how they fixed it. Well, this is different. This didn't happen before.
Favorite place you've traveled, man? You've been all over the world.
Man, I'm going to say the Philippines.
Yeah, that's cool. What do you like about it?
It was just beautiful. And it was real rustic. And a lot of the places that I got to stay were like, one of the places was a ex-Japanese World War II prisoner of war camp. And they had turned all the hutches into these beautiful screened-in bedrooms. And it was right on the ocean, and just driving around the Philippines in the mountains and everything. And I also got to fly helicopters through there. I did a thing for the military, and that's about the most fun I've had in another country.
That's cool, man. Toughest decision you had to make, or most difficult thing you've ever had to do?
Unplug my mother-in-law.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I've had that answer a few times.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Two more questions, and I've really enjoyed talking to you. I'm glad this is
you too, man.
600. Best advice you've ever been given?
To Leon Russell stuff.
Okay. About here's two notes.
There's two notes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Here's what you're doing wrong. You're overplaying. You're not playing in the pocket. You're not going, when the song goes here, you're not going here. You need to go here. When the song goes here, you need to go here.
I've had a lot of guys on the show. Not a lot, probably 5%, maybe 30 guys. When I say guys and gals, have sat down and said they had lessons like that, and they were the most valuable musical, simple, but the way who gave the lesson and the manner in which they gave the lesson was.
They're not physical lessons; they're mental lessons.
Yeah, right. Every one of them, and it changed the life of every player because of that.
Yeah.
And last question, man, biggest change in your personality over the last 10 years, and how much of that change has been intentional and how much has just been a part of aging?
The biggest change would have been having to go through the cancer and mentally deal with that.
And how have you changed as a result?
Man, I'm not sure. I'm not real positive like I used to be.
Interesting, because you seem pretty positive.
Yeah, but about that, I don't know what to make of it. It's a worrisome thing.
Yeah.
So it tends to be in my brain a little bit too much, more than I wish it would be in my brain. Like I said, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is start stroking my body, looking for lumps.
Yeah, man, I think that's time. I think over time, at least based on what I've seen with my wife and not, I can't say me, I was a side man to her thing, but I think that's normal, and I really do think you're going to be able to lay that down naturally in time. It takes a
Yeah,
long.
that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. Man, let me tell people where to find you, and thank you, man, for being so cool and so
thanks,
open,
Greg.
and I really appreciate your time.
You too, man.
I want everybody to check out Tom's album. It's Tom Britt, Britt, Elevator Man. It's a great record. Every time I listen to it, I enjoy it more, and I found more cool things on it. It's just,
yeah, I'm not unhappy with it. I would have thought I would have been unhappy with it, but
that is good to hear, man, because you should.
Yeah, I actually kind of, for once in my life, like something I actually did playing one.
Songs are good, well-written songs.
Thanks.
Really
That's
are.
what I was going for, was well-written songs, not guitar playing.
I talked to Jim. I mentioned I was talking to Jim, and I said, that's the first thing I said. You know what? It's really hard for a guy who's not cranking out records like this all the time to sit down and write 9 3 to 4 minute single songs, and they're all pretty good. You know, you got some standouts there. It's very difficult to do that, I think. I think so.
Well, promote that record for me.
Yeah, man. TomBrittGuitar.com. Elevator Man. If you order the CD from Tom, tell him that you heard him on the show on Everyone Loves Guitar. He'll sign it for you. He'll put lipstick on and put lips on your thing. Yeah. And also, couple other things. You can find Tom on Facebook. So follow him there. And also, he has a standing gig every other Sunday. Where is that?
D's in Madison, Tennessee.
Yeah, D's in Madison, Tennessee. And if you're on his Facebook page, he does post his gigs. Also, for those of you going to be in the Nashville area on December 30th, the night before New Year's Eve, at 3rd and Lindsley, Tom is putting together a nice show with Andrea Zahn, great fiddle player and vocalist, Maura O'Connor, Odessa, that's the New York in me coming out, Maura O'Connor, Odessa Settles. Odessa Settles, sorry. And he will be posting that as well on his Facebook page. And go say hello to him and tell him you heard him on the show, and give him a word of encouragement and how proud you are that he put this record out and his health is on the recovery. And also, if you are interested in taking lessons, man, check this guy's playing out online. And if you're interested in taking guitar lessons from Tom, message him on Facebook Messenger, but just give him a little background as far as where you're at in your playing, what kind of guidance you're looking for, and how you feel he might be able to help you. And then this way he'll know how to get back to you and respond to that. And that's it. Anything else, man? Any other final words of wisdom?
No, I'm just peeing right now.
Oh my God. God bless you, Tom.
You're welcome.
What a maverick. Oh my God. I usually have
I'm such a rebel.
I usually have to take someone out to dinner at least to get him to pee in front of me. You're a pro. Everybody, as we close out watching Tom pee, I want to thank everybody. This is the best ending of. I'm so glad this is episode 600. I couldn't have paid for this.
It's perfect, man.
Yeah, man.
I think you're looking at an Emmy here.
Man, I had a guy on the other day. He's like in the Grammy committee. I said, "How do you get? You got to get best music podcast as a category." And he goes,
"Yeah, sure.
I know, man. And this would be the best episode, right? This fucking 10 minutes right here.
I think we nailed it, man.
Yeah, you nailed it. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this interview and if you enjoyed watching Tom P, please share this on your social media channel with your friends. We appreciate your support. Hey, I really want you to check out Tom Britt's record. It's Tom Britt, Britt. Go to Tom Britt Guitar. The record's called Elevator Man. It's a really cool record. When you order it, tell him that you heard him on the show. He'll send you a signed copy. And most important, don't forget that happiness is a choice, so choose wisely. Be nice. Go play your guitar. Go pee, whatever you want to do, and have fun. Thanks for listening.
Are we out of here?
Peace and love, everybody. I'm out.
All right. I'll see you, Craig.
All right, brother.